one finds oneself temporarily ensconced within the walls of Berkhamsted Castle. Berkhamsted being quite possibly the poshest of towns what's near my gaff. It's quite a good castle. It's a fair bit more to look at than most of the Norman castles round here, because the vast majority of them, like Gatehouse, Tottenham, Sharpenhoe, they started off as wooden timber Norman castles and then just ended up as empty hilltops. Whereas this one started off as a wooden Norman castle and ended up becoming a stone one. So there's still lots to see here. Sorry about the, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Sorry about the families, sorry about the children. We've also got a railway line right next to us, so that's probably going to be a regular feature. Let's go and have a look on top of this keep. Fairy ring. And lots of molehills as well. Moles all over the place. Never mind. Berkhamsted is a properly posh town. We've got lots of posh villages around here, loads of them. But Berkhamsted it's a whole town of poshery. Now you can come here, and believe it or not, you will still see people walking around Berkhamsted looking like they've just come from the Henley Regatta or from colonising India. The blokes have all got silken cravats and straw boaters, and the women are wearing leopard skin coats with birds of paradise stitched into their hats. It's not something I'm used to seeing, but it's something very particular to Berkhamsted. I used to work here and you see it all the time. It's weird. This is a little inner moat which goes around the keep. There would have been a keep tower up there. It had its own little moat going around the bottom, as well as the main moat, which encompasses the whole site. Now it was, who built it? Can't remember his name. Was it Robert Mortain? Somebody Mortain. William the Conqueror's half-brother built it in 11 something. And this was the actual place where, a few years down the line, Guillaume Batard, William the Conqueror, actually officially accepted the surrender of the Anglo-Saxons after he invaded in 1066. Right on this very spot. From up here, on top of the keep, it becomes immediately obvious that this isn't the highest point in the area, in the very immediate area. Just over there, we're surrounded by hills on both sides there. Now, when you look out across Berkhamsted as well, there's high ground to both sides, so it's not the classic highest point sort of hill fort, but then this place was just so well defended, it was so well built. I don't think they necessarily had to rely on being at the highest point to defend themselves. It was an absolute monster of a castle. A bit later on I'll see if I can find one of the little visitor boards and I'll show you their approximation of what it would have looked like. It was double moated, so we can see that from here. There's an inner moat, very wide inner moat, and it has water, some water in there still. And then you've got a slightly narrower outer moat, but with very, very steep sides to it. Of course, then once you get past the two moats, you've got the outer bailey wall, which encompasses that whole grassed area there, the Outer Bailey, within which would have been various administrative residential buildings. And then up here on top of the keep, they had a huge great tower. I'm actually standing on one of the bits of wall now. There you go, look. There's the thick tower wall that runs around the top here. Now, it was incredibly well defended. Brilliant site. When it all goes to, you know, when the shit hits the fan. Sorry, I didn't say that, did I? When the stuff hits the fan, I'm going to come and live here, because look, we've even got a well. There's a well up on top of the keep. Well, that's quite echoey, that. Hello. And there's another well just down there. Oh, sorry, I've got my big gloves on. There's another well just down there. So you've got a well within the Bailey, and you've also got a well at the top of the keep for when things get really bad. Those trains, by the way, they destroyed the original gatehouse. The original gatehouse was just... Where am I pointing? Just there is where the original gatehouse was. Now, whilst Berkhamsted Castle was, I think, the very, very first building in the UK to be offered protection from development. In the 1830s, when they built the train track, it was given that protection. But for some weird reason, they didn't think it included the gatehouse. And, well, basically where the gatehouse was, is where the train track now is. The train was going to come straight through here, but they protected it by moving the track over there and decided that the gatehouse wasn't worth keeping. So this is all very interesting for me to see. I have been here once before, very briefly. Like I said, I used to work in Berkhamsted, and I did just pop over it quickly one time, but I did stay and have a look around. I just wanted to see what was here, really. But it's great to see a Norman castle that lasted long enough to get built out of flint and stone, and to have quite so much still to look at today. By, when are we talking? I think it was by the middle to late 15th century, by which point it was about 300 or so years old. It was falling out of use, and it all got plundered. You can see most of what's left here is the flint walling, but there would have been a lot of much nicer, fancier stonework that various owners would have installed over various renovations. That all got plundered and taken away pretty quickly. And I can actually think of a couple of properties between here and Northchurch, a couple of very big old stone properties that I'm guessing might have some of the stone from here built into them. I'm very happy to say we've lost the children. Now, there are quite a few very notable characters lived here over the years. The Black Prince lived here. He was Edward of Woodstock, son of Edward III. I don't know quite why he's so significant, that name, the Black Prince. I know that from somewhere. I'm not good enough with this sort of thing to know exactly who he was and what he did. But I know he was heir to the throne after Edward III, but he died before his dad did. Which I think then meant that the throne would have gone on to somebody who people didn't want. And barons rebelled and invited the French to come and have a pop. Something like that. Other people of note to have lived here were Thomas Beckett. He was the Archbishop of Canterbury, and he was Henry II's Chancellor. Right up until Henry II accused him of embezzlement and stripped him of all of his property. Took this back off of him, so it wasn't his castle anymore. Don't know who he gave it to, but after that, Thomas Beckett went on, continued to be the Archbishop of Canterbury, until, of course, 4 Norman knights came and butchered him in his cathedral. The other person who lived here was Geoffrey Chaucer. He's the bloke who wrote the Canterbury Tales and other bits and pieces, poems and stuff. And this is his kitchen. So while we're... Is it his kitchen? Yeah, it's his kitchen. I thought it looked like a kitchen. This is the kitchen of the Black Prince, Geoffrey Chaucer and Thomas Beckett. So let's take a little moment to appreciate the history, and we'll hear a little piece of Geoffrey Chaucer read from his own kitchen.
The life so brief, the art so long in the learning, the attempt so hard, the conquest so sharp, the fearful joy that ever slips away so quickly. By all this I mean love, which so sorely astounds my feeling with its wondrous operation, that when I think upon it, I scarce know whether I wake or sleep.
Definitely from Burko. People round here just don't say things like that. Big old walls. They're dwarfing me. And of course this is only the ugly bits that got left over. Like I said, all the nice bits got taken away, so it would have been even bigger. That cottage there, I've not really been able to figure out exactly what that's all about. I read somewhere it's something to do with the Duchy of Cornwall, which I think is Prince Charles's company, isn't it? Where he sells all of his expensive bread and stuff. Don't know why that's here or exactly what it is, but I'm going to go and have a little walk around the perimeter now. As I came in down there, I noticed that they've got a one-way system in place, but you can have a good walk around the moats. I parked over there in the station. 2 hours, £6. Pirates. Anyway, nice little walk round here. You can see the width of this inner moat. It's huge. I'm walking on this bank, which has a much steeper outer moat on the other side. I'm sorry the camera's a bit all over the place today. Because this isn't like actually a walk, you know, I'm literally just driving to a little tourist spot and having a look around. I didn't bother bringing my stick, but I'm so used to filming with my camera in my right hand and my stick in my left hand. Of course, you know, and you're not actually looking at what you're doing with your feet when you've got the camera in your hand. I'm so used to being able to steady myself with my stick while I'm filming, because I didn't bring it with me today. I'm all a bit all over the place. It is a very impressive little castle, isn't it? Okay, by some people's standards, there's not a lot left standing. But by my local standards, any walls whatsoever is a bonus. Because, you know, I'm used to seeing the old timber ones. It's a nice little site, just for a quick little walk. Now this is where, yeah, that's interesting, you see. This main inner moat comes round and then it branches off around the keep, which is interesting. I wonder if that's something that they all do. And down on this side, that's very steep, look. Oh, there's something else. Aha, yeah. This is probably one of them. I know there's one just over the back there, which I'll show you in a minute. I think this might be another one. I might be wrong. I think this was to do with all of that Black Prince business. Whoever it was who was in line to the English throne after his death was so unpopular with all of the English barons and knights and lords that they openly invited Prince Louis over in France to come and have a pop come and take the crown. Now this is one of the places where his troops came and they besieged the castle here. They built their siege engines. I don't know exactly what sort of thing they had. They had siege towers, siege engines of some sort. And they built embankments. I think I can see another one. Right there. They built these embankments to put their war engines on. I think that might be one there. There's definitely one just behind me. This here also looks promising. Can you see? This mound here. Now the one that I know is definitely a war machine foundation is just over there a bit. Looks lovely, doesn't it? I'd say this little siege engine platform here, it's not going to have been a tower, is it? Because between it and the walls is one very large moat, which suggests to me that whatever it was they'd built on this mound would have been some kind of ballistic construction, hurling rocks at those walls. I've noticed that as I come round this southern edge, right next to the trains, the outer moat here, which you can't see too well behind those trees, but I've just basically followed the outer moat down there, round the side. It actually comes right up against the road and stops. So it's not just the gatehouse that was destroyed. There's the inner moat. I'm on the bank, and the outer moat there, look, all of a sudden, wallop, hits a brick wall and disappears. So this road here that runs alongside the train track looks as though it's been built on top of the outer moat. Flipping Londoners. So I've very nearly finished that little perimeter walk. I'm back at... Shut up. I'm back at where I started just there. One thing that I've not noticed on the way around was a little depiction for you, a little drawing of the layout and how it originally looked. I know there is one because I've seen pictures of it online, a little visitor board somewhere. Unless it's indoors. I don't think it was indoors, the one I saw. I've seen pictures of it. When you see that, it really does give you an idea of how brilliantly well defended this place was. It really was a monster of a small castle. Right, let's go and see if we can find that board so you can see what I'm on about. There we go, there it is. I just used my trouser leg to dry that, so I hope you appreciate the effort. There's the keep. We are here at the main entrance. The train track has now cut through this, so that little bit of the outer moat and this gatehouse are gone. But what a defensible site! Look at that. Isn't that impressive? And you might have been wondering what all of the sackcloth, what all of the Hessian is about. Well, these little signs dotted around explain that the sackcloth is protecting vulnerable areas from the weather over the winter. I mean, I wouldn't have thought it's going to provide too much protection, but apparently they're also going to start doing a little bit of work on some of these, because look, can you see how much that's leaning over? Maybe not so well on the camera. Oh, that's better, look. They are going to have to do a bit of work shoring some of this up. There you are then. Quick little foray into Berkhamsted Castle. It needed to be a quick one because I've got to go home now and jump in the shed and finish making some Christmas presents. I'll show you them, I'll video them before I send them off to people. I'll video them before I have to send them off, but obviously I can't show them before the Christmas day because it will spoil the surprise. I hope you found that mildly entertaining. Something to do on a grey afternoon. Watch that for a bit. Right, take care. I know next weekend is Christmas, but I'll get out anyway. I'll see you later.